Hey, this is Adam with the Adam Wines Guitar Academy. Today we're going to be looking at Autumn Leaves, and we're going to be doing a walking bass chord etude. And in the last Autumn Leaves video, we did the big band Freddie Green style comping. That is a good first place to start before trying this. A warning here, this is pretty hard to do, so if you feel frustrated, maybe try this again later and really master the Freddie Green video first. But that being said, let's give it a go. I'm going to play through it real quick with a short so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, and then we'll jump right into it. Okay, so first things first, I am not going to use a pick for this at all. I'm going to just put it down for today. But if you were, playing with another guitar player, you could kind of like hide your pick like this as we go to do the technique. But I'm just going to put it down, and I would recommend you do that, until you master it. And then once you get really good at this kind of thing, then you can, hide the pick away in case you need to grab your pick to, improvise and whatnot. But anyway, so Autumn Leaves is the way we're going to play it. We're going to play it basically in the key of E minor. I like playing it in this key. It is also oftentimes played in G minor. If you feel adventurous, feel free to try to transpose this to G minor once you've learned it. But anyway, the first four measures are a 2-5-1-4 chord progression in the key of G major, basically. And then the second four measures are a 2-5-1 in E minor. So G major and E minor are the same key, basically. They share the same notes. So just real fast, on the guitar, we have in the key of G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and then G, and it starts over again. And E minor is the same, it just starts on E, so it would be E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, and E. And a lot of times when we're in E minor, we're going to be thinking of E harmonic minor, and that would be E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D sharp, and then E. And that will come into play quite a bit, especially on the B7 chord, which you'll see. But anyway, let's go back. So first four measures, let's start on the A minor 7. So there's two chords that I'm thinking about in the first measure. The first chord is an A minor root position chord. And the notes are A, G, C, and E. And you bar your ring finger on the 5th fret of the D, G, and B string. And then you take your middle finger and you have it on the low 6th string or the low E string. And that is an A note down there. I'm using my middle finger. And the A string is getting muted by the angle of my middle finger. So it's not really coming out. And I'm trying to not hit the first string, but because I'm using my fingers, it's not too bad. So even with, like, if you accidentally, do that, because we're using our fingers, you should be able to avoid hitting the strings we don't want to hit. So that's the first chord. The second chord I'm thinking here is a first inversion, A minor 7. That's where the C of an A minor 7 is in the bass, the third of the chord. So in A minor 7, you have the notes A, C, E, and G. So you have an A, a C, an E, and a G. That's an A minor 7 arpeggio I just played for you. But those are the notes in the A minor 7, but I'm taking the third, the C, putting it down in the bass. So I'm getting a first inversion chord. So those are the first two chords I'm playing with in the first measure. But in between that, we have some bass notes that we're going to hit. So what we're going to do, I have the chord ready. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hit the A with my thumb, the low E string. Then with my other free fingers, I'm going to grab the other strings after I've hit the bass note like that. And there, it's basically eighth notes, but there's a bit of a swing feel. So the feeling's kind of like, so you kind of hang a little longer on the quarter, or excuse me, on the first, beat there than you normally would. Like in regular eighth notes, you might go one and, but because it's more of a swing feel, it's going to go bum, bum. So one and. You're just hanging a little bit longer on that first note. So anyway, that is the first part. Then I'm coming over to a B note. This is a passing note in the key. And I'm just hitting that before I prepare this chord. And then I grab the bass note, and then I hit the rest of the chord like that. And then the last note I'm going to hit is the 9th fret. And that's a passing tone. It's a chromatic tone before I go into the next measure. So measure 1 so far, nice and slow. 1 and 2, that's a quarter note. 3 and that's swing eighth notes, and then 4, that's another quarter note. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. That's how that goes, okay? Now a couple tips, just practice the chords over and over first. Just get comfortable with that. Then you can add in the bass notes super duper slow. Like that. Okay, moving on to measure 2, we have the D dominant 7. We had just played the C sharp, so we're now coming into a root position, D7 dominant chord, and we will also be playing with the first inversion as well. Now, a lot of times in jazz guitar, guitarists don't necessarily come all the way up here, but I have a 24 fret guitar, so I think it's fun. This is what I am choosing to do. There's so many options here, so just keep that in mind, okay? Now, this is a D dominant 7 like we talked about. Notes are D, C, F sharp, and A. First inversion, that's F sharp, D, A, and C, like that. We have 10th fret with the index finger on the E string. We have the middle finger on the 10th fret of the D string. We have the pinky on the 11th fret of the G. And we have the ring finger on the 11th fret, the 10th fret of the B string. So that's how that one's played. The first inversion, we have ring finger on 14 of the E string. We have index finger on 12 of the D. We have the pinky on 14 of the G string, and we have the middle finger on 13 of the B string. The bass notes that will get utilized is the D here. We're going to have an E. We have the F sharp, and we're going to actually come back to the E before we go to the next measure. So if I put this together, we're going to go 1 and I'm going to grab that. I'm using my ring finger in this case. I'm going to slide over to prepare myself for that chord. I have the bass note first before I play the chord though. And then I'm going to grab this 12th fret. There's a couple, you could do your ring finger here, you could do your middle. Just, it's up to you what fingers you use there. So nice and slow. We have the D and then the chord. Grab the E, grab the F sharp, prepare the chord, hit the chord, the top part of the chord, mind you, and then hit the E again. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. Okay. Now we're coming to G major 7 in measure 3. The two chords I'm going to use are the second inversion G major 7 chord and the first inversion G major 7 chord. So we're going to be using this chord and this one. Okay, so we have D, B, F sharp, and G. So we have our ring finger on the low 10th fret here on the E string. Middle finger is on the 9th fret of the D. The pinky is on 11 of the G. And the index is on 8 of the B string. And then for first inversion, middle finger is on the 7th fret down here on the low E. Index is on the 5th fret of the D. The ring finger is on 7 of the G, and the pinky is on 7 of the B. The bass notes we will use, we have a D, going to a C, going to a B, and going to an So super slow, we have the D note, then hit the top of the chord. We're going to grab the C. I'm using my middle finger here. Then we're going to grab the B, and then we'll grab the chord, the top part of the chord, not the bass note. And then we will grab this 5th fret here, an A. All right. So if we put that together, we have 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. Then the next measure, we have a C major 7 chord. We are going to be using 2nd inversion C major 7, and we're also going to be using 3rd inversion C major 7. We're going to use the bass notes G, A, B, and B flat. All right, and then in this chord, we have a G, an E, a B, and a C. Here we have B, G, C, E. And fingering wise, I'm going ring finger, 3rd fret, low E, middle finger, 2nd fret, D string, pinky is on the 4th fret, G, and the index is on the 1st fret of the B. And then for this one, ring finger is on the 7th fret of the low E, and then the first finger is barring the 5th fret on the D, G, and B string. Okay, so for this part here, we're going to grab the G note and then the top of the chord. Then we're going to hit the A, using my ring finger in this case. Then we're going to grab the B note while preparing the chord, and then hit the top of the chord after the bass note. And then I'm going to use my middle finger to grab the B flat there, or A sharp, however you want to think of that. So if I put this together, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. So the first 4 measures, nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. All right. Just take your time, like I mentioned, and master one little bit at a time. It's okay if that, takes you a couple days, a week, no problem at all. Just take your time. There's no rush. So the next set of 4, we're into the 2, 5, 1 and E minor now. First chord is F sharp minor, 7 flat 5. And the chords we're going to use 1st inversion. That's an A, an F sharp, a C, and an E. And we're also going to be using root position. That's F sharp, E, A, and C. So the way I'm getting this, I have middle finger, 5th fret on the low E, index 4th fret of the D, ring finger, 5th fret of the G, pinky, 5th fret of the B. And this one, middle finger, 2nd fret, low E, ring, 2nd fret, 4th, pinky, 2nd fret, 3rd string, and first finger, 1st fret, 2nd string. All right. The bass notes I did the A, of course, down here. Then I went to G, and then F sharp, and I'm going to actually hit the F sharp again at the end. So super slow. We have the A, then the top of the chord. I'm going to grab the G with my middle finger. Going to grab the F sharp with my middle finger and get the chord ready. Hit the bass note first, and then the chord, and then the bass note again. All right. Nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay, moving on to the next measure, we have B7. Now here, I opted to do the diminished chords just like I did in the Freddie Green video. So as mentioned before, on a 5-7 chord, when you're in the minor tonality and you're thinking of harmonic minor, when you get to the 5 chord, in this case being B7, that third of the B7 is a D sharp, and that's what gives us that harmonic minor flavor. And what we do is we omit the B and we play the chord tones above the B. So in this case, the D sharp, the F sharp, the A, and then a C. And what that does is it gives us a flat 9 chord, but practically speaking, it's a fully diminished chord. And what's really neat about this is all of the inversions look the same, as we kind of talked about before. So I am choosing basically an F sharp fully diminished chord, but you could think of it as the flat 9 2nd inversion because we're using the 5th of the B7. And then I'm also using the potentially the 3rd, you could think of this as the 3rd inversion basically, but we're basically playing an A fully diminished chord here. So those are the 2 chords that are getting used. They're the same shape, I just moved them. So here we have F sharp, D sharp, A, and C. And the way I'm accomplishing this is I'm borrowing my first finger on frets 1 on the D, G, and B string. My middle finger is grabbing the 2nd fret on the low E, and my ring finger is grabbing the 2nd fret on the G string. And it's the same shape when you move over here. It's just 5 and then 4 and then 5, but everything's the same. So that's that. And the bass notes I decided to use here, obviously F sharp, I did a G, I did an A, and I did a B flat or an A sharp. And nice and slow, we go low F sharp, then the top of the diminished chord, the G, then the A, preparing the diminished chord, grabbing the top of the chord, and then the 6th fret. So nice and slow, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Then the next two measures are both E minor 7. So we're a little bit longer on one chord. And I decided to do the second inversion, E minor 7 chord to start. And we've got B, G, D, and E. Ring finger is on 7th fret of the low E. I'm borrowing my first finger on the 5th fret of the D, G, and B. And the pinky is on the 7th fret of the G string. So that's the first chord. And then I went with a third inversion, E minor 7 afterwards. And we had pinky on the low 6th string, middle finger on the 9th of the D string, ring finger on the 9 of the G, and the index finger on the 8th fret of the B string. And the notes are D, B, E, and G up top there. Bass notes I went with here, we had B, obviously, a C, a D, and a chromatic D sharp or E flat, but D sharp is probably the one we want to think about. So you could either think of that as a chromatic tone or hitting the harmonic minors flavor. Both are valid ways to think of that. Nice and slow, I did the B, then the top of the chord, grab the C, I guess I use my ring finger there, but then I am going to need my pinky to grab this while we get the other part of the chord ready. So it's a D note down here, and then the top of the chord, and then I used my pinky and I grabbed the 11th fret or the D sharp. So nice and slow, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Then we have to come into this chord, an E minor root position chord, borrowing my ring finger on the D, G, and B string, grabbing the 12th fret with my middle finger on the low E string. So we have E, D, G, and B. That's the chord we're going to be grabbing. And then we're also going to be grabbing the first inversion all the way up here. As mentioned, this might be a little high for you depending on the guitar you have, but I do have a little bit of fun coming up this high on the guitar for jazz chords from time to time, but you don't want to live up here necessarily. All right, so this is the first inversion, E minor 7. We have G, E, B, and D. Middle finger is on the 15th fret of the E string. Index is on the 14th fret of the D. Pinky is on the 16th fret of the G. Middle is on the 15th fret of the B string. Bass notes I used here, I did the E, an F sharp, a G, and I come back to an F sharp. So we hit the low E, then the top of the chord, F sharp with the middle finger, then 15th with the middle finger, preparing the chord, then hit the top of the chord, and then grabbing this 14 again with the middle finger. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. All right. So these 4 measures here, nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 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 So once again, take your time, no rush at all. All right. Now it comes back to the 2-5-1 in G major, the 2-5-1-4. Excuse me. So A minor 7, D 7, G major 7, C major 7. So here we're going to grab the second inversion A minor 7 chord. We've got an E, a C, a G, and an A. Ring finger is on the 12th fret of the low E. Index finger is borrowing the 10th fret on the D, G, and B. And pinky is on the 12th fret of the G string. We're also going to be grabbing a first inversion A minor 7 chord as well. We have C, A, E, and G. Middle finger is on the low E string. Index finger is on the 7th fret of the D string. So Middle finger is on the 8th fret of the low E, index is on the 7th fret of the D, pinky is on the 9th fret of the G string, and the ring finger is on the 8th fret of the B string. The bass notes I went with here was E, D, C, and a B. So we're going to grab the low E with the thumb, grab the top of the chord with the fingers, hit a D note with the ring finger. Then we're going to grab the C note with the middle finger and prepare the chord, hit the top of the chord. And then I grabbed the B with my middle finger. So nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. Then we're on the D7. We're going to have a second inversion D7 chord in this particular measure. And we have A, F sharp, C, D. Ring finger is on the 5th fret of the low E. Middle is on the 4th fret of the D. Pinky is on the 5th fret of the G. Index is on the 3rd fret of the B. Like that. And then we're also going to be grabbing a D7 first inversion, but we're going to have an open D string here, which is not typical. So the way I'm getting this is I'm doing middle finger, 2nd fret of the low E, open D string. Ring finger is on the 2nd fret of the G string, and first finger is on the 1st fret of the B string. So, and the notes are F sharp, D, A, and C, like that. And the bass notes that I will use, I have an A, a G, an F sharp, and then the F sharp will get played again. So, nice and slow, we have the A, top of the chord, the G note, I'm going to use my middle finger, then I'm going to hit the F sharp while getting the chord ready, hit the chord, and then hit the F sharp again. So nice and slow, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. Then we come to the G major 7. I'm going to be using a root position, G major 7. We've got G, F sharp, B, D. Index is on 3 of the low E. Ring is on 4 of the D. Pinky is on 4 of the G. And the middle finger is on 3 of the B. And I will also be using a first inversion G major 7 chord. We have B, G, D, F sharp. So middle finger is on 7 of the E. Index is on 5 of the D. Ring is on 7 of the G. Pinky is on 7 of the B. The bass notes I will be using a G, an A, a B, and another B, like that. So we're going to go low bass note of a G, hit the top of the chord, use the middle finger to grab the A, use the middle finger to also grab the B while getting the chord ready, then hit the top of the chord, and then we'll hit the low B again. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. All right. And then for the C major 7, we're going to be using root position C major 7, C, B, E, G, index on the low 8th fret of the E string, ring finger on the 9th fret of the D, pinky on the 9th fret of the G, middle on the 8th fret of the B. And we'll also be using first inversion, C major 7. We have E, C, G, and B. So middle finger is on the 12th fret of the low E, index is on the 10th fret of the D string, ring finger is on the 12th fret of the G string, and pinky is on the 12th fret of the B string. And the bass notes we'll be using, we'll be going C, D, E, and grabbing this F, which is technically a chromatic tone on the way to the F sharp, because we're in the key of G, so F is not really a pitch that's in the key per se. So we're going to go low C, grab the top of the chord, hit the D with the middle finger, grab the E with the middle finger while getting the chord ready, then hit the chord at the top, and then hit the F. All right, so 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. So now we're back to the 2-5-1 in E minor, or E harmonic minor, however you want to think of that. So this part's pretty tricky because I'm really high up on the guitar and the frets get tight. So we have an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 root position all the way up here. It's hard to play this clean sometimes. You have to have your fingers so close. It's easy to mess this up, so be careful here. So we have F sharp, E, A, and C. I'm doing middle finger on the 14th of the low E. Ring finger is on the 14th of the D. Pinky is on 14 of the G, and index is on 13 of the B string. And then we will be grabbing the third inversion, F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord. And we have E, C, F sharp, and A. So ring finger is on the 12th fret down here of the low E. The first finger is barring on the 10th fret of the D, G, and B. And the middle finger is on the 11th fret of the G string. And the bass notes we will be hitting, we're going to have an F sharp, an F chromatic tone, an E, and another E. So we're going to grab the low F sharp, then hit the top of the chord, grab the F with the middle finger, then grab this E with the ring while preparing the chord, and then hit the top of the chord, and then hit the E again. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. Then we come to the B7 again, and we're going to be using diminished chords again. So we're going to do basically a D sharp diminished, like that. It's the same shape from before, barring, and then, have these fingers just like the other diminished chords we did from the other measure. But we have D sharp, we have a C, an F sharp, and the A there, barring that first finger on the 10th fret of the D, G, and B. The ring fingers on 11 of the G, middle's on 11 of the low E. And we're also going to be grabbing a C diminished chord, the flat 9 and the bass there. We got C, we have A, we have D sharp, and we have F sharp. Same shape, barring middle finger and ring finger. So it's the same shape as this. I just moved it down to the 8th fret. So 8th fret, 8th fret, and the 7th fret there. And the bass notes that will get played is a D sharp, a C sharp, which is technically like a chromatic tone, then a C note, and another C note. So we're going to hit the D sharp, then the top of the chord. Then we're going to hit a C sharp with the middle finger. Then we're going to hit the C with the middle finger while getting the chord ready, hit the chord, and then hit the middle finger, the C again. So we have 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And then we have the two measures of E minor 7 again. So we're going to use an E minor 7 second inversion chord, B, G, D, and E. Barring that first finger on the 5th fret on the D, G, and B, pinky is on 7 of the G, ring finger is on 7 of the low E, like that. And we'll also be grabbing a first inversion, E minor 7 chord, G, E, B, D. Middle finger is on the low 3rd fret there, the E. Index is on 2nd fret of the D. Pinky is on the 4th fret of the G. Ring finger is on 3rd fret of the B. Bass notes we're going to use B, A, G, and F sharp. So we're going to go low B chord, grab the A with the middle finger, grab the G with the middle finger, get the chord ready, hit the chord, and then hit F sharp with my middle. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. The next E minor 7, we're going to do actually an open E minor 7. It's just E, D, G, B, just open strings. And we're going to do the first inversion chord again, like that. Bass notes we're going to use are E, F sharp, and G, and another G. So we're going to go low E, then the top 3 strings of the open chord, F sharp with the middle finger, G with the middle finger while getting the chord ready, then hit the top of the chord, and the G again. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. So these 4 measures, nice and slow. We've got 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now this is the part of the song where the 2, 5, 1 in E minor happens again, which is kind of breaking the normal form. So that's the fun part of this song. But it's also very distinctive. When you hear the song, you can really hear this. You'll hear the normal 2, 5, 1, 4 in G major, and then you can really hear the song if you're paying attention where it's going to the minor section, the 2, 5, 1 in minor. So you can really hear where it does the 2, 5, 1 in minor back to back if you're paying attention, which is really helpful if you ever get lost. So here we're going to be using root position F sharp minor 7. Like that. We have F sharp, E, A, and C. Middle finger is on 2nd fret of the E. Ring finger is on 2nd fret of the D. Pinky is on 2nd fret of the G. Index is on 1st fret of the B. Then we're also going to be using first inversion. A, F sharp, C, and E. Middle finger is on 5 of the E. Index is on 4 of the D. Ring is on 5 of the G. Pinky is on 5 of the B. The bass notes I will use, we got F sharp, G, A, and we'll grab a B. So F sharp, top of the chord, middle finger on G, middle finger on A while grabbing the chord, and then middle finger on B. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. Now for the B7, we're doing the fully diminished chords again. We have a C fully diminished and a D sharp fully diminished. And we've played these before in the lesson today. So Should remember the fingering, and the tab is on the screen if you need it, but it's the same as from before. Bass notes I'm grabbing, I got C, D, and D sharp, and another D sharp. So we're going to grab the low C, the top of the chord, middle finger's going to grab the D, then middle finger's going to grab the D sharp, and then the top of the chord, and then the D sharp again. So that D note, kind of a passing chord because we're thinking of E harmonic minor, or passing tone because we're thinking of E harmonic minor. And really slow, we're going to go 1 and 2, 3, and 4. And then we have our two measures of E minor 7 again. So we're going to be using E minor root position, E, D, G, B, low E, middle finger 12th fret, low E, ring fingers borrowing on 12, 12, and 12 of the D, G, and B. And we'll be using third inversion E minor 7, D, B, E, and G. Pinky's on the D down here, 10th fret of the low E, middle fingers on the 9th fret of the D, ring fingers on the 9th fret of the G, and index is on the 8th fret of the B. Bass notes I'll be grabbing, I'll be doing E, D sharp, D, and I'll be grabbing a C. So I'm going to go low E, then the top of the chord. I'm going to grab the E flat or D sharp with my middle finger. Then I'm going to switch to my pinky on the D, or right here, on the low E string, and then hit the top of the chord. And then I'm going to use my middle or my ring, either one really, to grab the 8th fret here, or the C note down there. So we have 1 and 2, 3, and 4, like that. Then in the next measure, we're going to be doing second inversion E minor 7, B, G, D, and E. So ring finger 7th fret, E, index fingers borrowing on 5 on the D, G, and B, but the pinky is on 7 of the G string there. So I'm going to be using this one. I'm going to be using first inversion again as well, the G, E, B, D, middle finger on the G here, index on the E, pinky on the B, and the ring on the D there. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, like that. I'm going to be using the notes, bass notes B, A, G, F sharp. So we're going to grab the low B, then the top of the chord, A with the middle finger, G with the middle finger while getting the chord ready, then hit the top of the chord, middle finger's going to hit F sharp, like that. 1 and 2, 3, and 4. All right, nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2, 3, and 4, like that. Okay, now we're back to A minor 7, so the 2, 5, 1, 4, and G major. We're going to be doing a third inversion, A minor 7 chord, G, G, E, A, and C. Pinky is on 3rd fret of the low E, middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the D, ring is on 2nd fret of the G, index is on 1st fret of the B. So we're going to be using that chord, and we're also going to be using root position from the beginning. So borrowing that ring finger on the 5 on the D, G, and B, middle finger's down here, 5 of the low E, A, G, C, E. We're going to be using the bass notes G, G sharp, a passing tone, A, and back to G sharp, the passing tone again. So we are going to hit the low G, top of the chord, use the pinky on the G sharp here, then switch the middle finger to grab the A, then the top of the chord, and then middle finger can grab the G sharp again. So 1 and 2, 3, and 4, like that, okay? Then we have the D7. We're going to be using the second inversion D7 chord. So we have A, F sharp, C, D. Ring finger is on the 5th fret of the low E. Middle finger is on the 4th fret of the D. Pinky is on the 5th fret of the G. First finger is on the 3rd fret of the B string. And we're also going to be grabbing third inversion D7. So we have middle finger. So we have C, A, D, and F sharp. So middle finger is down here on the 8th fret of the low E, and I'm borrowing my first finger on the 7th fret of the D, G, and B string. I'm going to be using the bass notes A, B, C, and C sharp, that passing tone there. So this is going to go low A, chord, B with the ring finger, and then I'm going to grab this with my middle finger, the C, and then the top of the chord, and then either use the middle or the ring here to grab that 9th fret there, or the C sharp. So nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3, and 4, like that. Then we have G major 7. We're going to be using second inversion G major 7, D, B, F sharp, and G. So we've got 10th fret, 9th fret, 11th fret, and 8th fret, and I believe we have done this chord before in the exercise. And then we have G major 7, 3rd inversion, F sharp, D, G, and B. So 14th fret down here with the ring. And then I'm barring my index on 12th fret on the D, G, and B, like that. Bass notes I'm using, I've got a D, an E, an F sharp, and then an F passing tone. So this is going to go low D, then the chord, E, F sharp while grabbing the chord, but not playing it yet, just the F sharp, then the chord, and then F, like that, with the middle finger at the end. So nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Then for the C major 7, I'm going to be using first inversion C major 7, E, C, G, and B. Middle finger's down here on the 12th fret of the low E. Index is on the 10th fret of the D. Ring finger is on 12th fret of the G, and pinky is on 12th fret of the B string. And then I will also be grabbing root position C major 7. C, B, E, and G. Index finger is down here on the 8th fret of the low E. Ring finger is on the 9th fret of the D. Pinky is on the 9th fret of the G, and the middle finger is on the 8th fret of the B string. So I'm going to be using the bass notes E, D, C, and B as well. So we're going to go low E, middle finger, top of the chord. Then middle finger's going to grab D. Then I'm going to use my index finger to grab the C while getting the chord ready. Then hit the chord. And then I'll grab the B there with my index. So we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4 like that. Okay, so these 4 measures, we go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 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 like that. All right, now the last 8 measures get a little more interesting, has some chord substitutions happening, which is pretty fun. So we do just start with the normal F sharp minor 7 flat 5. I'm going to be doing second inversion. So C, A, E, and F sharp. Middle finger's down here on 8th fret, low E. First finger's barring on the D, G, and B, and the pinky is grabbing the 9th fret of the G string. Then I'll be grabbing first inversion F sharp minor 7 flat 5. I believe we played this earlier, if I'm not mistaken, but we have A, F sharp, C, and E. So we have middle finger down here on 5, index on 4, ring on 5, pinky on 5. Bass notes, we're going to use C, B, A, G. So we're going to hit the low C, top of the chord, middle finger on B, then middle finger on A, grab the top of the chord, and then G with the middle finger. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Then we're on the diminished chords again for the B7. So we have F sharp fully diminished, like that, same shape from before, just down here on F sharp. We're also going to be grabbing it over here on A, like that. So by now these chords should be pretty familiar because it's just one shape, right? So this chord is being played at the 2nd fret and the 5th fret, right? And then we have F sharp, G, A, and B flat for our bass notes. So we're going to hit the F sharp, top of the chord, middle finger's going to grab the G, middle finger's going to grab the A, then top of the chord, and then B flat again with the middle finger. So we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now, next measure here, we have E minor 7, but then also E flat 7. So the E flat 7 is like a filler kind of chord substitute, which is pretty fun. So we're going to be grabbing second inversion E minor 7, which we played earlier somewhere, I'm sure. But we have B, G, D, and E, like that. 7, 5, 7, 5. I'm borrowing my first finger to help me grab this chord. And then we will also be grabbing a typical E flat dominant 7 second inversion here. We have played the shape today, but it's not on this particular chord. But anyway, we have B flat, G, D flat, and E flat. So ring fingers down here on the 6th fret, index fingers on the 5th fret of the D, pinky is on the 6th fret of the G, and index is on 4th fret of the B. In the bass notes I'll be using, I'll be going B, A, B flat, and another B flat. Okay? So we're going to hit the B, then the chord, then I'm going to grab the A with my middle finger, then the B flat with my ring, and then the chord, and then the B flat again. So nice and slow. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. then very similar idea on the next measure, but we're using D minor 7, then D flat 7. So we're going to use the same shape, the second inversion shape, but in D minor. So we have A, F, C, and D, but it's the same shape from over here. We're just 2 frets down. So 5, barring that first finger on 3, and then 5. And then for the D flat 7, we're going to do the same shape too, of the second inversion like the E flat, but just 2 frets down. So it's the same shape as this, just 2 frets down. So we have A flat, F, C flat, and D flat there. C flat and B are the same note, by the way, but because it's a D flat 7, C flat is the technical way to think about it. So we're going to grab bass notes are going to be A, G, and A, G, and A flat, and another A flat. So we're going to hit the A, top of the chord, middle finger on G, ring finger on A flat, grab the chord, and another A flat. And we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like that. So this set of measures together, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. All right, last 4 measures. So now we have a C7 instead of F sharp minor 7 flat 5. So that's interesting. So we're going to be grabbing the second inversion C7, same shape as the others, but so the same shape. So we got G, E, B flat, C, 3, 2, 3, 1. And we're also going to be grabbing a third inversion C7, B flat, G, C, E. That's 6, and barring the first finger on 5 on the D, G, and B. I'm going to be using the bass notes G, A, B flat, and B. So we're going to go low G, chord, the A note with the ring finger, B flat with the middle finger, then the chord, and then the B note with the ring finger, like that, okay? So we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, okay? Then we have the B7. We're going to be doing diminished chords again. We're going to be doing a C fully diminished and a D sharp fully diminished, like that. I'm going to be grabbing the bass notes C, D, and D sharp, and another D sharp. So I'm going to go low C, top of the chord, D note with the middle finger, and then 11th fret, or the D sharp with the middle finger, and then the chord, and then another D sharp. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And then we finish with 2 E minor 7 chords again. I'm going to be using root position E minor 7 again. I'm also going to be using third inversion E minor 7 here. D, B, E, G, 10, 9, 9, and 8 there. I'm going to be using the bass notes E, E flat, D, and C. So we're going to go low E, hit the chord, middle finger on the E flat, then the pinky's going to grab the D while getting the chord ready, then hit the chord, and then I'm going to hit the C with my middle finger. So I'm going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And then to finish it off, I'm going to be doing second inversion E minor 7, like that. We've seen this chord before today. And I'm also going to be using first inversion E minor 7, so this should look familiar to you as well. I'm going to be using the bass notes B, A, G, and F sharp, okay? So we're going to do B and then the chord, then A, and then G and then the chord, and then F sharp, like that. So these 2 measures one more time. Low E, chord, E flat, D, chord, then C, B, then the chord, A, G, and then the chord, and then F sharp, like that. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So the last 4 measures here, we're going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And then the whole song starts over again. So as you can see, this is not easy at all. This may take you quite some time if you've never done something like this before. Practice it extremely slow and just take one, set of 4 measures at a time. Truly, there is no rush here. Just take your time. Once you get the hang of this, it'll become easier on other jazz standards. And the application here is the biggest thing, first of all, is it just helps you learn the chords even more because you have to think about them so deeply. And it also helps if you ever want to play some solo guitar, so like solo jazz guitar, or if you want to accompany another guitar player. So it has quite a bit of uses. But the biggest benefit, in my opinion, is just it really hones the harmony of a jazz standard. And it's also fun and it sounds awesome. It's a very fun way to use the chords as opposed to just always doing the instead of just always doing the Freddie Green style. But don't get me wrong, the Freddie Green style it sounds great, but this is just another level and it's just very fun to do. So once again, my name is Adam with the Adam Wines Guitar Academy. If you're interested, I am available for private Zoom lessons. Feel free to contact me directly, and my contact details are in the description.